Hey everybody, thank you for listening to Filling in the Gaps. Be sure to check us out on our social media pages at Filling in the Gaps. From there you can get updates on show releases and anything special we may be doing. Sit back and enjoy the show. Should be a lot of fun.
Well, hey everybody, welcome out to another episode of Filling in the Gaps. My name is Rich from the heartland state of Ohio, joined, as always, by the illustrious Cam from down in the biggest and baddest state of Texas. Sorry we took last week off. For those of you guys who might have noticed, Cam was celebrating his anniversary, and I was being lazy, so we took the week off, but we're back to give you guys some more hopefully some more good ideas for you guys to use during your next game night. For those of you guys who are new, we're going to be rolling some d20s here in a little bit, and using those dice rolls, we're going to go ahead and decide and brainstorm just some ideas that hopefully either make you laugh or make you go, I could totally do that. But Cam, even though we didn't record last week, we did record with somebody. You want to go ahead and give that person a shout out?
Wonder. We recorded one of the first episodes of What's Up with Wonder, an interviewing podcast that bases a lot of their information around esports and the coverage within that community. And Wonder is a really great guy, and he just decided to come up to us and ask us about our lives, and it was pretty fun to sort of look back and just sort of see where we've gone and how far we've come from that from I guess 6 months ago or so. So that's a lot of fun. Check it out. We will make sure to tweet and retweet it just to get it going. And it was a fun conversation, and he's looking to do that with any and every content creator out there within this world. So if you want to talk to him, just give him a yell, I guess.
Yeah, and that's What's Up with Wonder, but he spells it W-U-N-D-E-R, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I always need you here for the things that actually matter, as opposed to me just going like, listen to the podcast, hope you can find it. So
that's what I'm here for.
Yeah, but you know what else we're also here for, Rich?
What's that?
Shall we roll?
Let's do it.
And it feels good.
It feels good. Missing a week, you'd be surprised. How much
Can you hear the music like now whenever we start doing this? Because for some reason, even though I can't hear it.
I can hear it.
Yeah,
Yep, I can hear it.
That's nice. I can hear it.
So for those of you guys who are new, what we're about to do is me and Cam have in front of us two 20-item lists. Today I am rolling for our themes, and Cam is rolling for our scenarios. And after we throw these dice, we're going to go ahead and mash these two results together into 45 minutes of brainstorming. So let's go ahead and figure out what we got for this week. And
let me get a better roll. Sorry.
A better roll?
I meant a roll that was like not sitting on a corner. My bad.
Sure.
On my non-counter dice. Let's be real. I've been using real D20s all along. These bad boys are real.
That's true.
That's true.
I'm the one using my fake D20s from Magic the Gathering, which I've stopped. I used a real one today, and I rolled a 3.
You rolled a 3
for themes.
This has got to be our lowest roll day to date. I rolled a 7.
A 7? Really? Okay. Cam, while you figure out, you're getting excited, so it's going to be awesome. While you figure out what our theme and scenario is, I'm going to let you guys know what these dice rolls are brought to us by. Our dice rolls are brought to us by none other than Libris Arcana Dice. I just got done doing a giveaway a few weeks ago. Just so you guys, in case you haven't heard, Libris Arcana Dice is a dice service that provides you with a random set of a 7-set dice delivered right to your door, either every month or every 3 months. And if you guys sign up at their website, librisarcanadice.com, using the promo code FITG, you'll get 25% off your first order. Me and Cam love doing things kind of randomly and shooting from the hip sometimes. And if you guys like that kind of random fun in dice form, make sure you check them out. But Cam, what did we get? 3 and 7. What is it?
Yeah. So our theme is brought to us by Dunn, and that is Candyland, which is exciting.
Okay, that'll be interesting.
And my 7 is brought to us by Daniel. and that is a zombie outbreak. So this is an interesting one. This is like, yes.
Okay.
The Candyland zombie outbreak. I am sort of like all about this bad boy.
Candyland. I'm looking up Candyland characters right now.
Oh my god, yeah, that's a great idea. So, okay, while you're doing that, let me just spitball some real quick.
Okay.
Are these zombies? It's a zombie outbreak, so it's like a cannibalistic. Oh, it's a cannibalistic.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. It's like a cannibalistic scenario where things are feeding on their own species essentially, to survive. And they have an insatiable hunger, which also plays into candy. There is like just an absolute desire to eat and eat and eat and eat. But are the zombies themselves emanating from the Candyland, or are they like legitimate just zombies that have just somehow ended up in a Candyland? Or are they zombies with a little bit of a sweet tooth?
That's a good question. Okay, so I found so many Candyland characters.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and read off some of these to you.
Okay.
Oh gosh, there's so many. I think they've changed them at some point. So there is Princess Lolly.
Mm-hmm.
There is.
I remember that.
Yeah, there's Lord Licorice. There's also King Candy. There's Jib. There's Mr. Mint, who's like a lumberjack.
Hold on.
Jib.
Hold on. Why did they went like all these cool names and then they just said his name is Jib.
His name's Jib. According to the thing, and I'm probably wrong because I'm just on Google right now, and there are so many different renditions of these characters. Mm-hmm. So these are the ones that are most consistent. But there's also there's like the chocolate or toffee.
Oh yeah, like
thing,
yes, I remember that.
Which I think it looks like his name is Chocolate Blah, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, you remember when the Marvel Universe became zombified?
Yes.
Okay, that kind of scenario, but with these characters, is kind of the way that I would like to do this, because if you look in like towards the back of the monster manual, you'll see like the zombie beholder and the zombie ogre and all those different things like that. So adding zombie flair to monsters isn't very difficult to do. And so what I would like to do, and stop me if you need to, but I would like to have a few surviving members of this candy world that have become grizzled survivors of an apocalyptic candy world, and they have now tried. They know the cure, but it's located within it's all the way down the path of the Candyland, and you've got to get there to sort of cure Candyland of this I don't know, infection, maybe a cavity of sorts.
I like this a lot. Okay, so going off of what you were thinking too, because I like the idea of there being like some survivors and like zombifying other ones.
Yep.
What if? Okay, so I think this would just be really fun. What if you get so what if you're there, you're meeting these like Candyland people, and they're like, oh, you have to help. And I like the idea of right off the bat giving them a choice, like where it's like, okay, we can either go over here and save these people, or we can go over here and save these people. So it's like we can either go to the castle and save like King Candy, or we can go to this hamlet and save Lord Licorice and Mr. Mint. So you kind of have that decision, and whoever you don't save, you like fight later on in like that zombified state.
Yes.
Or you fight like minions who are based on that. Mm-hmm. And to kind of visualize those areas, it'd be sweet if you could find an old Candyland game and actually like lay that game out as like a map and some kind of like time counters type thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Where it's like you put King Candy on there, or you put like just some zombie tokens on there, and they move. Maybe you even spin for them, like Candyland. You like spin, and they move closer to the location as you like do things.
Right. And depending, so this reminds me of a board game I've played called Dead of Winter. Have you ever played Dead of Winter before?
No.
So Dead of Winter has a lot of really cool mechanics that we can sort of steal right here and use for a cool D&D campaign. So
Okay.
they have locations outside of a main base, and the main base always has an oncoming onslaught of zombies. And then you have locations outside of it that you can search for goods and for items and things like that. But when you search, you cause potential noise. And noise is a 3 or lower roll. No zombie shows up. 4 or higher zombie shows up to that location. And so based off of specific actions, you can actually draw zombies to locations away from other areas based off of that kind of stuff. Does that make sense?
I like that. Nope,
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Right, and so
Also,
using those like noise mechanics and using those action mechanics, we can manipulate the herd, if you will, of shambling peppermint boys.
oh yeah, and another cool thing I'm looking at right now is I looked at somebody's like more modern retakes on like the Candyland characters. These guys look sweet. Like Lord Licorice looks pretty much just like wow, how am I forgetting like the
Strahd?
vampire from Strahd? He looks like Strahd.
Yeah.
Gumdrop, who's like kind of this weird looking like Gumdrop, guy. He's he's like kind of like an inventor scientist
You
figure.
weaved such a picture in my mind right there with this. Like
I know. I was being
Gumdrop
so
guy.
well. The original guy, he's got like he looks kind of like a clothed version of that giant purple McDonald's dude. But he's got like big googly eyes. He's wearing goggles. He's got like a crazy outfit. But on this artist rendition, he's kind of like a mad scientist looking figure. He's like fiddling with something in his hands.
Right.
But what if so hear me out. What if the cause of this zombie outbreak? You know
that's
how
a great call.
there's that chocolate lake dude,
Mm-hmm.
or I guess Fudge Lake. I don't even know what's his name. Gloppy. His name is literally Gloppy. That's
We've all been there.
Fantastic. Yeah, seriously, it's my life. I identify as a Gloppy.
Yeah.
But he. What if something happened to him and happened to that like Fudge Lake type thing?
Right.
And what if these zombies are like, kind of like a clay golem type things, and they're coming out of this lake relentlessly, and even like maybe some of them form together into like larger mounds,
Right.
And then they just like are kind of going after people and eating them.
You know what I like about that as well is that we can then transition the visuals of Gloppy and the mud or more or less fudge as like representations of the character. So like let's say Lord
It's
Licorice.
also the end of the board. It's the end of the Candyland board. He's the last thing.
Yeah, exactly. So it works perfectly. But like Lord Licorice, say for example, your players decide to let him not get, or let him get consumed or something like that. If your players then go back, he's still Lord Licorice, but now he's got this brown ooze like flowing out of his eyes, and his mouth is like a gape, and he's got this. You know what I mean?
That'd be so cool.
And so that's what I'm saying. So we can then transition that look, that character Gloppy, to each of. Man, this is so insane. I can't believe this is a podcast that we're actually doing. But we take Gloppy and he becomes like that essence gets to spread out to other characters. And so I think of like the Peppermint Forest, for example. That guy would be amazing as a zombie. What's his name? Peppermint Pill Polly? What? I don't know.
Something like that. I'll find. I'm sorry.
Alliteration.
I'm looking up. Go ahead.
They're big fans of alliteration.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I mean, but I think about it this way: like if I'm running that
Mr. Mint.
Mr. Mint. Okay, that's even scarier, honestly. But if I'm running Mr. Mint as a big bad or one of my mini bosses on the way up to my main big bad, which is now King Candy covered in sludge and everything, then I can it sort of work like I think this is how Displacer Beasts work, where they're able to sort of nightcrawler around the battlefield, but instead of night crawling, it's like Splatoon the video game, where the mud on the ground allows for him to go down and then come back up. In different locations. And even more impressive is using like sharp, deadly peppermint shards and shoot them out of the ground or at the players or something like that. And so,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, this is crazy and insane and the best ever.
Yes. Oh, okay. And as you were talking too, another thing I thought of. So there's King Candy and there's Princess Frostine, who's kind of like an ice queen kind of looking thing. Yeah. I think you already have you have 3 political figures, and you could play off this political dynamic of like you got King Candy, you've got Princess Frostine, and you've got Lord Licorice. And I think
yes.
right off the bat, like I think we have to have someone who we introduce as like the character who kind of sets up what the heck's going on. And I don't know if that's... I'd like it to be Mr. Mint because I feel like he's a really likable character, but I like the idea of him also, like...
By the way, we have to acknowledge the fact that right now, if you're listening and you haven't tuned us out, you are legitimately on Google right now, just having to follow along with these characters. And
oh, yeah.
God bless you for that. But what you're saying, like, we need like a quest giver introduction style character?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now it could be, and I wish I had character names.
Yeah.
Is there a plum dude?
Oh, I got a character name right here, actually. There's a plum guy.
There's this green dude. There's this green dude who seems to be picking plums, and I can't find his name for the life of me.
I need to. Here, wait, hold on. Sorry, everybody, that I have a mechanical keyboard because I'm a try hard.
But I'm thinking, so maybe if we can find the name of this plum guy, I think he could be a really cool like quest giver because he can be very disconnected. He doesn't have to. He can know a lot of information about the world without necessarily. I feel like Mr. Mint. There's somebody he's probably looking out for. I feel like he might be a King Candy loyalist, but I'm not sure. That's just me.
So we're not only in Candyland during a zombie outbreak.
I'm thinking of the politics of Candyland, dude.
We're starting to get into the political intrigue. It's because we just had some votes. That's why.
That's
in real life, we were doing all of our voting, and so you said, "Let's do this thing." His name is Plumpy.
Plumpy. Oh my gosh, perfect. What a better way to be introduced to the world than by Plumpy.
Hey everybody, I'm a plum boy. He's a plum druid, and all of his animal druid familiars are made out of plums. Druid. And then he goes, "Hey, hello, I'm Plumpy. Welcome to my forest." He's like a
green Lorax, dude. That's what he is. He's like the green Lorax.
And don't chop his trees down though. He's Plumpy, so you don't want to mess with that. Okay, so we've got.
I love the idea of that choice because I love the idea of like you essentially choose who you save and you choose who might die. And so you're kind of deciding, like, do you want to fight, like, a bunch of weak zombies, but there's a ton of them because that's King Candy. He's got, like, the kingdom. Do you want to fight, like, kind of maybe some kind of magical zombies from Princess Frostine's, like, Frost Kingdom? Or do you want to fight, like, really weird, maneuverable Lord Licorice zombies? Or like also, like, who do you want to help survive? Like, who do you think would be the best bet? Is it better to have King Candy?
Do you make the source of this corruption and zombification? Do you make him or it a sort of like a creature that you feel for and that you like? It's not trying to do this, and it's just happening. Is that, or is this actually an evil act in your mind? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
No, I hear what you're saying. I kind of feel like it's more, I don't know, maybe. I could see it either being someone maybe intentionally did something to, what was the fudge guy's name?
Fudge guy? That's his
Fudge
name.
guy. Somebody did something to Gloppy. Yeah. That's just ridiculous. Somebody did something to Gloppy or to the lake. Or I would love to make all of these, this is just me, I would love to make each of these factions somehow bad.
Yes, me too. I want 3 like underlying evil factions.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe not evil, but just they've all done wrong.
Right. Like, for example, King Candy. Why does his candy taste so good? Why is it always like, why are the streets so clean?
Mm-hmm.
Who created Gloppy? What? Wait a second. Gloppy is the waste and like refuge of this city, which is just, well, that in a way makes Candyland's poop chocolate, but you know what I mean.
No, I hear you. I'm writing. Sorry, I'm writing out right now. I'm looking at the Candyland characters and I'm trying to think of alliances. So I think I like the idea of King Candy being with this other being with Gumdrop. So Gumdrop, I feel like, is King Candy's like mad scientist dude. So King Candy is like the political figure, and then Gumdrop is the guy. I'd love for there to be this back room where, you know, Glub, what's his name? Fudge dude, Gloppy. Where like Gloppy is like kept in this giant like scientific container, and he's just being experimented on. And maybe, you know, runoff of that experiment is what initially polluted the lake.
That's what I'm saying. Like that I want him to be the figure, like that he's probably the good guy of it all, and he's just unfortunately stuck between these warring factions that have caused their own zombification.
Yes, and I think that maybe King Candy, it could be a food or like a drought thing, maybe maybe because Lord Licorice like owns like the fields or like the fruit fields or something like that. Maybe you know, because they've stopped trading, King Candy's been running out of food, so they've been experimenting on Gloppy to try to make this new food substance. Yeah. And that's where this. But I think Lord Licorice and Mr. Mint, I think those two go really well together, because I imagine that there's licorice trees as well as mint trees. So those
I
two...
like the idea that Mr. Mint is a bad man too. Like he's
I imagine that Lord Licorice and that Mr. Mint are kind of like the Scandinavian Russian faction, and that King Candy is more like your European faction, and then Princess Frostine, and then I think Lily is her name. They're more of like your kind of like elven, like fey magic. Like they're on like the fringes of society, but there's like magic amongst them.
Okay. So to recap real quick,
like, dude, it could be sweet to have. Okay, I think it's Princess Frostine. There's Lily or Lolly, and then there's, I really don't like this name because it sounds ridiculous, but her name is Grandma Nutt, and that just does not. Grandma Nutt. That just sounds all sorts of bad.
Come on in here and eat some dumplings. Grandma
But
Nutt.
I like the idea. I know. I like the idea of the three of them kind of being like the fates from ancient Greek mythology, or like almost three hags, essentially.
Yes.
Like they're a coven of hags.
So this place is already awful. And poor Gloppy is just stuck in the middle of it, being a mud lake.
They get what they deserve. They're getting what they deserve with the zombie apocalypse. But you get to help decide who survives to,
you know what I love the most
the rest
about
of the world
is that I love the fact that if your players catch on, they might just say nobody survives, and Gloppy is probably happy and going like, "Just put me out of my misery, please," or something like that. I love that.
I also think this has to be in another plane of existence. Is this in another plane of existence? Yes. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, this is in the D&D, like in the DM's guide.
Oh, really? It's one of the planes? Yeah. Candyland plane?
The candy plane. Yeah.
But you're going to say recapping?
Yeah, just a quick one, because
there it is. We
have a lot of stuff going on here. That I wanted to rein it in for just a second so we could. And I'm not trying to speed bump you here, Rich. I'm just trying to.
Okay, sorry. You got me talking about political intrigue in Candyland, and I was all
during
a
zombie apocalypse. I mean, if you don't, are you really living?
Exactly.
So to start your players enter into Candyland, and they have now been presented with multiple opportunities through Plumpy, the plum god. He's a plum druid, actually.
Plum druid,
and
yep.
they've started to realize that the land has become corrupted, and different creatures from different portions of the Candyland have become corrupted by a brown ooze and have become zombified and are now trying to kill each other. And
I think the best way for them to find that out is sorry to cut you off.
No,
there's a gingerbread man character, and I think fighting at least a large gingerbread man who's just like has just fudge pouring out of like his mouth and like his eye holes and stuff would just be a great like scene setter. Like,
even better than that is like because you have to do this whole zombie thing, right? Because you never know it's a true zombie apocalypse until someone turns, right? So have a gingerbread with a little bitty bite out of his shoulder, and then the white icing bandages on the shoulder.
Yep.
And he's like, "Well, I think one of these weird things bit my shoulder."
Yes, it's the gingerbread man. It's the gingerbread man and this plumpy guy, and they both meet you. But you kind of see that the gingerbread man keeps holding his shoulder, and like you can like perception check or medicine check to see that he's like ill, and like eventually he like just like lies down, and he's getting quiet, and then all of a sudden he just starts moving around, and then he like just like starts standing up, and he gets way bigger, and he's just like, and you're like, oh man, I love it. Anyway, keep going. Sorry, I cut you off. I'm just loving this.
You don't need to worry about that. I am so happy right now. I'm just, man, this is incredible. The Candyland zombie apocalypse. So that's your initial introduction into the world of like, oh wow, there are literally zombies made out of all the different delectable treats of the world. So now, how do you introduce the three kingdoms, and what's the next steps, I guess, we take in terms of giving our players progression? In other words, dangling the strings in front of their face right now. Like, how do we get them to go, let's go and figure this out? Three little hooks of sorts.
I feel like...
Well, we still have Plumpy, right? We still have Plumpy.
Exactly. We still got Plumpy.
Yeah.
And I feel like he can maybe explain if people are like, hey, because also your players are going to want to figure out how to get out of here. So I think that could be one way of Plumpy introducing these three kingdoms, is like the three different people who you could essentially work with to find your way out. Like you could be like, oh, well, King Candy has, all of the wealth of the Candy Kingdom, as well as, his personal scientist, whatever his name is, not Plumpy, the gingerbread man, Gumdrop.
Gumdrop, yeah.
But also there's the three hags, Princess Frostine, Lily, and Grandma Nutt, and they are all powerful witches who could probably for sure help you out. But then also you've got Lord Licorice, who lives deep within the Mint Forest and has been known to, like, he's the eldest of all of, his kingdom is the eldest of all of them, and there's for sure somebody there who knows how to help you.
Dude, that's I'm all about that. Yeah, because it's just because you're giving. At the very least, he's legitimately your quest giver, and I mean, some people don't like to be playing in a choose your own adventure or something like that. But to me, it's like, look, I mean, you're always going to have an overarching theme. So, just be a part of this. But here's the thing. We talk about the characters of Candyland, but we don't talk about the world that it already has created for us. And dude, there are so many really, really cool little spots. There is there's this like fudge swamp, right? Then they've got the Nutt Farms. God, I can't.
I know.
They've got the Licorice Forest. They've got this like peppermint forest, the Gumdrop Mountains, like a river made out of, I don't know, like what would you say? Hot chocolate? I don't know. I don't know. About
Yeah.
hot
Yep.
chocolate.
Looks right.
Yeah, hot chocolate. That works. Okay, cool. Maybe a giant gingerbread tree, or maybe a tree with little elves inside of it that make a bunch of cookies that fight for them.
Yes.
I will.
feel like-
Can I a fair bit
ahead.
of disclosure with you? Actually, back in the day, I tried to get my wife to play D&D for the first time, and she said, "If we're gonna play D&D, I'm gonna run a game for you." And I was
Okay.
like, "All right, I'll take it." And I said, "Do you know what to do?" And she said, "I'll figure it out. You just play." And I said, "Okay, all right, cool." And I made up a little quick dwarf to play. I love playing dwarfs. And she told me that I showed up at Jolly Rancher Ranch with a sore mouth because I have a cavity and I need to
Okay.
go fix it. And so I think that's probably why I'm so excited. I know that sounded like I was going somewhere with it, but more or less that's what I'm getting at, Rich, is that I just
Coming full circle.
yeah, it's come full circle to me, is that now 2 years later in my life, I will actually have the ability to put the Jolly Rancher Ranch inside of a game. And she actually did a fair bit of visualization for me and told me that all the Jolly Ranchers were the ranchers themselves, and they were all wearing straw hats
Oh,
and
that's sweet.
overalls, but they had Jolly Rancher bodies. And then I said, "Where do I gotta go to go get my cavity fixed?" And they all in unison pointed up there and pointed to this like shining mountain of candy.
Ooh, I like that.
I know, and it's like there's this, and I have a sweet tooth. Do you have a sweet tooth? I'm a big sweet tooth guy.
I do have a sweet tooth.
Yeah, man. This could be a delectable experience for your players as well. You could bring treats.
You could bring treats and sweets. It's the perfect way to get rid of all that Halloween and trick or treat candy.
This is
By
everybody gives
making it
out
eat your
perfect.
players.
This gives out. Everybody talks about doing great Halloween sessions. I don't think anybody's ever done a better post Halloween session.
That's
than
very
us.
true. Yep.
I'm pretty proud
Yep.
of us right now. That's
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so progression. So we've got Lord Licorice. What's his evil deed? Let's flesh these guys out. And this is
feel
actually
like-
one of our first episodes to really flesh out characters, which I've been a big fan of. So
Yeah. Yep. I feel like Lord Licorice. I like the idea of, like I said, him and Mr. Mint. Because I feel like if we're gonna have Mr. Mint, he's got candy canes. Mints are very refreshing. Licorice, I feel like is closely related to mints at least a little bit. It's got kind of got that medicinal taste. So I like the idea of their land kind of being a very barren tundra-y type land. So maybe they're the rich faction. Maybe they've got the mint mines, because mint, picking up what I'm putting down. So there's they have kind of like a snow-topped mountains and tundras, and the people. It seems very much like a Russian, but they also, you don't mess with them. They've got military might, like Mr. Mint, like that axe. He uses that axe, man, not just for cutting down trees. So I like the idea.
they've got the mint mob as well.
They've got the mint mob, yes. And I like the idea of Lord Licorice himself being very. I like the idea of him being kind of like a Strahd character, maybe he even is a vampire, and he's just very very stoic and very regal.
So then, what effect of the world did they have that has maybe perpetuated the zombie apocalypse of sorts?
Like, how did he kind of push the world into the way it is?
Right.
You have any ideas for that one?
Well, I was thinking that pollution would probably be best for them.
Okay.
And
okay. Cool.
I think
the mint
that,
mines pollution.
and I think that there's different types of zombification happening throughout the world, and
Gotcha.
that leads into different types of zombies. So like the mint mines have had a bunch of miners that have been trapped down below, and then when they start rising to the surface, and now they have their crystallized peppermint arms.
I like it.
And
I
you
like
know what
it.
I mean.
Yep.
Or like these very droopy and like sort of floppy licorice zombies that have been trapped inside of like a forest for a long period of time. And see, it works perfectly because it's like this capitalistic idea of send your workers to their death. Like this is that old school Russian ideology of just throw bodies at it till it's fixed kind of scenario. And so it works perfectly for them, right?
Yep.
And then I think of King Candy, and you talked about, and this is all speaking historically, not current day or anything like that, but talking about the sort of the illustrious and lavish, almost gluttonous type of lifestyle. Well, now they've eaten themselves out of a home, and they've eaten themselves out of things, and so desperation has happened, and that's what's caused the testing on Gloppy that's caused these mud zombies and all that kind of stuff. And since there's such a large population, it spreads really rapidly.
And there's plague in his city. He's got the most populated. His kingdom is the most populated, so it's more like a plague spreading, like a black plague type thing.
Or a brown one, in this case.
Or a brown plague, yep. Also, okay, so that leaves us then with Princess Frostine and Lily and Grandma Nutt, whose name I still hate.
Well, what I would say is that's a tough one. They probably want the zombie apocalypse to happen. They're sort of your want to watch the world burn people.
Maybe they.
I mean, I'm looking at her face right now. It's
maybe they're not necessarily a faction in and of themselves, but maybe they kind of play the role of, you get directed to them, because I really like the idea of them being like kind of like a hag coven. Like, like in Hercules, when he goes into the underworld Disney movie, and he talks with the Fates, like the Fates from Greek mythology. And
right,
like, they're
kind
kind
of
of all,
chop the hair and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and they're kind of like
or like the
croons,
in The Witcher, if you've ever played that.
Yes, yep, or like the croons. I even love that especially more. But I like the idea of you going kind of to them, and they kind of, peel back the veil a little bit, that not everything isn't like it seems, and maybe this world's getting what it deserves. And all this other stuff, and then from there they kind of set up that, like, there's two different exits, but as soon as you go to one door, the other door closes, to kind of like give you that idea of, like, whatever faction you help, like, that's the faction that makes it, maybe, if you succeed, and the other one, like, will die without your help.
And I think that they have this idea of their prophecy and their idea of the end times for Candyland. Mm-hmm. Man, did things that I never thought I would say in my life have been said today, and I'm proud of that. But I think that they would have the audacity to say that their prophecy of the end times of Candyland would be like final, and it's faultless. Like, there is no fault to what they say, and they've seen the end. And I think that because of that, they know that they've seen themselves trying to stop you. And I think that maybe if you... I'm trying to find a way, because I really want to have a Grandma Nutt battle.
Oh, gosh.
I just do, man. I want to have a crazy nut farm, because the swarming... like, I don't know. I just want to make a bunch of D's nuts jokes.
It comes out.
I know.
Now
but dude,
we know.
I just think about it. It's just so great. Or not. Or we could just go to the Lollipop Woods and talk to all these people and just go make some political intrigue decisions. Or we could have some fun, Rich.
I'm not saying like it's a bad idea. I'm saying like I'm trying to figure out how to get it to work.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, there's some cool little components to each of them, right? So the Grandma Nutt, she's got the sort of numbers on her side. The Lollipop gal, Lolly, she's one of our three hags, right? What is she's one of our three hags, right?
Yep.
The Lollipop. Okay, so she's got like the sticky sort of...
She's got the crystal ball of Lollipop, dude. She's got a Lollipop crystal ball.
Man, yeah, that is actually amazing. And then our Princess Frostine, she's our ice cream lady. Yep. So there's quite a bit of freezing. You could have some Han Solo moments up there.
And maybe it's not three of them. Because I'm even looking at we've got to go with with the lore of Candyland, and Grandma Nutt's on the left side of the board, and then Princess Lollipop and Princess Frostine, they're both right next to each other on the right side of the board. So you know what? Maybe they aren't all three together.
Well, here's the thing, though. And guys, I just want y'all to understand something. We're getting deep within this board, and I'm just telling you right now, we are experiencing Candyland on a whole different level. And
exactly.
It's kind of incredible.
And we're staying true to the lore. We're staying true to the lore of Candyland.
I got to tell you something. If you've ever thought about a lore-friendly Candyland podcast, you found the spot because we're here. The Grandma Nutt, and she is before Lolly and right before Princess Frostine. They are all still. It still works chronologically because they're all still in a line. If you think about it,
true.
Even though she's on the opposite side, maybe I don't know. It's just something to think about. I just think that 3 is a great number. 4 is not, unless Grandma Nutt is just like her own little thing. And she's just a side encounter.
Yep, I think she could be just a side encounter.
Well, we have some sponsorships and enter the realm here and have the top hat wearing Peanut?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I like the idea too of, so maybe we have Princess Lolly and Princess Frostine. Maybe they're the two hags, and because I could see Princess Frostine having a cauldron of frosting. And I could see, Princess Lolly having that crystal ball of like lollipop. And maybe you have to go and get some kind of item or something from Grandma Nutt. And then that you have to take to either Lord Licorice or to King Candy.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I'm also on the Candyland fandom wiki right now. If you'd like any lore on any of the characters, I can read their backstory to you.
Oh man, oh god, this is incredible. There's an actual lore-friendly Candyland side of things.
There's a little bit. Yeah. Like for instance, King Candy. Okay. He is often trying to take over Candyland and turn everything into licorice. But luckily for King Candy, Lord Licorice is often described as having a clumsy streak. Would you like his official bio? The grumpy Lord Licorice sneaks through the licorice forest. Be careful, he may try to block your way along the path with his icky, sticky licorice. Lord Licorice is not like anyone else in Candyland. He's always up to some plan to turn all of Candyland to licorice. The Licorice Castle, Licorice Lake, Licorice Mountains, and Licorice Acres. Just imagine. Luckily for us, he's a little clumsy. One of these days, you'd think, he'll learn all those happy Candyland friends. He'll learn that all those happy Candyland friends, with the help of visitors like you, will stop him every time. Dude, yeah, of course he's a vampire. He stops you along the path. You get pulled up into a tree.
He's stuck in his own location. He can't leave.
He can't leave?
Yeah, he's stuck into the deep darkness of the forest.
He's trying to bring the night of Licorice Forest to all of Candyland so he can live outside all the time because the sun melts his skin.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Did we just find out that Candyland was created by D&D?
I think so.
Or did we just find out that D&D was created by Candyland? Okay, because I'm having a moment right now.
Lord Licorice has a heart as hard as rock candy, so if you have to fight a end boss of Lord Licorice, you have to pull out his heart that's as hard as rock candy and find a way to beat it. Did you know there's a Candyland movie? I sure didn't, but I want to watch it now.
We're going to do a live stream of us just watching Candyland and like Mystery Science 3000 it. Some other things real quick. If we were talking about little side encounters, Jolly looks like a big gumdrop dinosaur. So zombie gummy dinosaur through dinosaur gumdrop mountains. That's pretty cool. I think zombified nuts is also really, really cool as well. What's the cure? So what's the cure to this sort of overall zombification? Or is this a tainted Candyland?
Maybe that's a good question. That's a good question.
I don't know.
There
I'm
a cure?
still lost on your. I didn't know there was a fandom wiki, and
I'm on King Candy's now. His castle is below the ice cream mountains where the chocolate river flows. Oh man, this is. I'm in deep now, man. I'm in deep.
Can we live stream this, Rich? Let's live stream this. Let's live stream the world building of Candyland. Actual D&D
King Candy appears as a rather overweight elderly man. In his present design, he wears a thick purple coat with a fluffy yellow whatever.
That's fat shaming.
That's true. Okay, what was I going to say? Is there a cure? I would like to say Candyland is rotten to its core. Oh my gosh. Okay, there's some things in this wiki that need changed. But I'd like to say that Candyland is rotten to its core. And that there is no saving it, there is only escaping. So maybe
I like that idea.
So maybe that's the thing too, is both factions are trying to figure out their way to escape. Or maybe they're like too proud
I don't
to
know.
escape.
I think they're in too far. I think they're in too deep, and they are
stuck in their ways.
Boom. And their egos have let them. I think that there should be ways to. So I have a way of ending King Candy's side of things, and that is maybe freeing Gloppy.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I'm reading the King Candy thing right now, and someone has come through recently and changed so much. Okay,
not a good way.
Let me just read this. King Candy is the king of Candyland and the main tritagonist. The ultimate objective of the Candyland game, is to reach his home, Candy Castle, and the first person who does so is considered the Satan lover. It was shown in 2005 film that he created the Bible and is the father of Princess Frostline and Princess Lolly, and of course, still a Satan lover. Not only does he love Satan, but he even does his evil deeds, like creating horrible monsters to wreak havoc on his kingdom and making all children obese.
Oh God, he's a demon lord. He's Orcus.
He's made a pact with demons. That's how he got to this. That's how he got to this position.
God, that's so great, man.
No, but I love the idea of, like you said too, of them being stuck in their ways. Like King Candy is like, no, I'm not going to leave my home. Like my father's father was the king of Candyland, and I'm going to stay here as long as. Forever, kind of going down with the ship type thing. And same thing with Lord Licorice, is he's like, no, like, I'm not going to abandon Candyland. I'm going to stay here to the very end. And maybe that's even one of the things that, the Princess Frosting and Princess Lolly say is like, there's no saving Candyland. There's only escaping Candyland.
Right. Yeah. What stops your players from turning around right when they walk in?
Obviously plot. Duh. The plot's awesome, Cameron.
And rich story development that I've really done a great job of. That's what stops him, Cameron. God.
Yeah, idiot. Like they cast, multi-plane dimension jump, whatever that spell is that lets you jump between dimensions, and for some reason there's something in the candy atmosphere that blocks them from leaving. Maybe it's perfect, maybe it's even that Princess Frosting and Princess Lolly have cast a spell because they know that you're here, and maybe they want you to end the feuding between King Candy and Lord Licorice.
What about this? Since everything's so bad, right? Everything's so bad. What if they just want? What if you're part of their prophecy, and they know that you're the reason why? Okay. And so you're the reason that's going to end this like eternal hell for them.
Yeah, I like that.
They remember the days of Candyland when it was colorful and the roads were filled with rainbow colors and things like that. And now they know that the candy has started to sour and go bad, and they're ready for this to be over. Yep, this is purgatory for them.
I'm just picturing like, Princess Lolly with like, ghosted over eyes, and she's like, they've been licking the lollipop from both sides for too long, and now all that's left is the rotten core.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, this is easily the best and most fully fleshed out episode we've ever had, and I love it. I do like the idea of, look in the bottom left corner of the map, you'll notice children running towards Candyland, maybe some zombie kids.
Yep.
You know?
Oh, I was even thinking that's you. That's your party.
That's what you look like. I actually sort of love the idea. Man, if I was a great artist, I would, before this session, I would draw Pixar children versions of each of my players' characters and give them to them so that they knew what they look like in the side of this world.
I'm going to Grandma Nutt, dude. She's the next one on my wiki. I want to know more about her.
Okay, let's hear it. And then we can finish up with a summarization.
She's sometimes called Mrs. Nutt. Or, as her official title is, I think someone got to this one too. Oh, gosh. Her name is Grandma Nutface Jr. But she is a woman who lives...
That was her back in 97.
Oh, my gosh. I don't even know if I can read this. Grandma Nutt, sometimes called Grandma Nutt, Mrs. Nutt, Nana Nutt, Nana Nut, or Nutbuster Supreme, is a woman who lives in Peanut Acres with her communist dog, Baz. She often gets into pretty petty arguments with her oldest sister, Grandma Gooey, but in the end, they laugh it out.
Nutbuster
Oh my gosh. Here's something in the official bio. Things can get a little nutty around Candyland, and nowhere better than Peanut Acres. Skipping to the end, though, Grandma Nutt loves to experiment with creating new types of magic for her peanuts. Not always successful. Whether
my God.
Whether you take a slide around her house or hunt for that perfect peanut butter, you'll always have fun with Grandma Nutt. She's an alchemist, dude. She's an alchemist.
You have pistachios going, kill me.
And her dog Baz, because she actually does have a dog Baz, which his wiki page is next. It's a basket full of peanuts.
Yeah, it's a basket dog. Yeah.
But he's the ultimate homunculus, dude. He's the flesh golem of this world. She's Dr. Frankenstein, man.
Dude, oh my God, what a great...
Oh my gosh, it's official. Listen to this fan page. Baz is a friendly, innocent peanut dog who lives in Peanut Acres with Grandma Nutt, doing her bidding and smuggling cocaine as a faithful comrade. It's all in the lore, dude. I'm sorry we're getting so off it now. But ultimately, I think I do think that getting way back to it, I think that the prophecy of this land could kind of be that Grandma Nutt has found a way to save Candyland through her alchemy. You've got to go and get that cure for Candyland, and then you choose who to deliver it to. And choosing to go to one faction does mean the death of the other. So you're kind of choosing who rebuilds Candyland. Is it, King Candy with his backhanded ways that have kept him in power for too long, smiling pretty on a throne of lies? Or do you go with King Licorice, who's obviously an evil oppressionist, but who might be what this world needs, the harsh ruler this world needs to help build it back up? Who do you deliver the cure to? And then... are you going to fight in the end game? Are you going to fight Lord Licorice as a vampire licorice mint lord with his Mr. Mint minion? Or are you going to fight King Candy, who's an amalgamation of science held together by fudge and gumdrops?
Wow.
It got dark, dude. It got dark quick.
We've got drugs, political intrigue. We've got progress for players.
Yep.
We've got everything you could ever want in a session.
Yep.
Done. Dunn gave us this recommendation, man. That's and done in the sense of the word. That's it. That's a wrap.
It's
right
done.
there.
It's DUNN done.
That is. Oh boy, that is it. So. It's my turn, I guess, for a synopsis, actually, this week. It is your turn for a summarization. And cool. So I'm ready. Well,
All
I'll
right.
be waiting for you to finish up, and then I'll.
Okay, so everyone, here's the summarization. So your party, for whatever reason, gets thrown into a different plane of existence. In this plane of existence, as they come through, maybe they're in a light woods. During the middle of the day, the sun is hanging hot overhead, and they meet. I forget his name. What's the guy? Plumpy, the druid, and he lives with his friend, the gingerbread man. In this small candy forest. All of a sudden, though, you begin to see that the gingerbread man has been infected by some sort of disease. He goes feral and goes large inside. He's the first combat. From then, Floppy, or whatever his name is, sends you on into the wisest. He sends you to the wisest people in all the candy land. Princess Lolly and Princess Frostine, the two seers. Once you go, they tell you of a prophecy where you must go and find the cure to Candyland, which is now rotten to the core. You have to get it from Grandma Nutt, who's an alchemist. You either take that through persuasion or through force. Grandma Nutt's an alchemist, and then you have to choose who saves the Candy Kingdom. Do you go with King Candy, or do you go with Lord Licorice? And whoever you pick, the other faction becomes the end boss that you have to fight at the end and maybe defend a castle of sorts from waves of the oncoming undead or stale candy or whatever their version of that is. But that's pretty much it. Then after that, you get sent into a different plane of existence, while the surviving faction is left to rebuild what's left of Candyland.
Okay, I'm gonna add a roll to my synopsis this week.
Okay.
1 through 5 will be a Lord Licorice synopsis. 6 through 10 will be a Mr. Mint.
Okay.
Actually, a gingerbread synopsis.
Okay.
11 through 15 will be my hags.
Mm-hmm.
And 16 through 20 will be Gloppy.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
A 7, which means who is that? Mr. Mint, right?
Mr. Mint.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Alrighty. A light snow falls to the ground around your party. It seems ever so still as they walk through a forest with candy cane trees reaching far into the sky, arching over so slightly, just barely dripping down. And then you see it, a flash from behind you. You turn, nothing's there. Another flash to your left, to your right. Then before you stands a man with a big bright red nose, whatever, right bread nose, and holding a massive caramel axe. And he stands and he says,
"How are you, my friends? I see you have found my forest. Do you like what you see? I like what I see. Something worth chopping down."
And that's it. Yeah. And then you fight Mr. Mint because you're in his forest.
Because you're trespassing in his forest. Yeah.
Yeah. He seems to be the reasonable one in this situation, but
exactly,
it is what it is.
He's a wise man, Mr. Mint. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's a wise one,
the mint
Mr.
keeps
Mint.
my mind sharp like my axe.
I enjoyed mint food, all of it. What an insane episode.
Yep.
Kind of blown away in the best kind of ways, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just that's what this podcast is all about. Candyland zombie apocalypse. When else are you going to talk about it? When else are you going to put it into a D&D session? Who knows?
I don't know, but I really hope y'all enjoyed this one.
Seriously.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you run this as a session, please reach out to us. Let us know how it goes. Tell us stories, please. I have to hear more about this one if someone actually runs it. Cam,
I'm actually going to be a big Candyland lore guy now, so I'm excited.
I'm diving deep in the wiki after this.
Yeah. You can reach out to us to tell us about your Candyland stories through the likes of our social medias. Our social medias are Twitter. You can find us over on our Reddit. You can find us over on our SoundCloud, on our fun little Discord. We have really, really cool chats. We've actually upgraded the Discord here recently, added in some different channels that give us a little bit more specific chats around certain things, like just a little bit of a DM workshop, some DM brainstorming ideas and stuff like that. So that's been a lot of fun. Guys, one of the best ways you can absolutely help us is by giving us a rating and a review over on iTunes. So if you have not done that yet, it would be greatly appreciated. A 5-star review will absolutely just sort of increase our exposure and help create more DMs in this world and help the other DMs find some fun and wacky candy type stories to go tell to their players. So that's something we can always ask of y'all. But if not, just we hope you enjoy the show first and foremost. So
yeah. And as always, we hope that as you guys listened to this week's episode, that there was some kind of idea that popped into your head as, oh yes, that's what I'm going to do for my next game night. We know that being a DM every single week, or even just being a player who's trying to liven up your character, can be hard. So we hope that something in this inspired you enough for you to run your own session or run a new story. As always, we hope you guys had a good one, and we'll be seeing you guys on the next one.